Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Happy Thanksgiving to all my Americans out there. We are here watching this football game because at halftime there will be an announcement from Mr. Dana White about some upcoming fights on CBS. So, well, yeah, we're gonna get my live reaction here, but first, they gotta run this clock out. I might have done this a bit early. I should have waited for this less time. This is a very long 2 minutes. Oh my god, it's fucking... Another foul! Okay, so that was the longest 2 minutes of my life. Now we get to wait to see what Dana's got. From what I've seen, all the rumors I've heard, man, I've not liked it so far. It's definitely, I mean, obviously it's about the CBS card and the first pay-per-view of 2026, because that's going to be the first Paramount card, CBS, this is on CBS, so obviously it makes sense. I don't know, from what I've heard so far what it could be, I'm not looking too excited for it. Hopefully something bigger, but, you know, these reporters are never usually too off of what the actual fight will be, so...
And as you may have heard, the UFC has a new home starting in
Alright,
January.
it's gonna be...
Because on January 24th, there will be fighting. UFC 324, headline.
What the fuck? Cortez Acosta versus Lewis? Arnold Allen versus Jean Silva, O'Malley versus Song Yadong, Harrison versus Nunes for the women's title. Tell me this isn't for the interim.
Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title and the co-main event.
Okay. That would be a nice one.
Fucking
Right,
for
folks,
the
hey,
interim
look here.
title, bro.
We have a
Are you
special
joking?
performance From one of the biggest artists
Oh.
Post Malone. That's when the Verizon halftime report continues.
Fuck, dude. I'm pissed. I'm pissed at that. I'm pissed at that, bro. That was my initial reaction to it. We're gonna transition to me going into a deeper dive in it tomorrow. So, let's get the fucking transition in. I didn't plan for this. There. Is that a good transition? Did that look cool? That was pretty fun? Probably not. Anyway, after 24 hours of digesting this information of this fight card, I have some pretty mixed feelings about it. Overall, I'm happy because it is a very stacked card. UFC 324 is. It looks pretty cool top to bottom, and we're still going to get some more fight announcements in the next couple weeks, I'm assuming. But at the same time, I think both cards' main events are pretty lackluster. Starting with UFC 324's. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Now, on paper, you hear Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, that sounds awesome. That sounds fantastic. Sounds like a very good feature bout or a co-main event, but you probably want 2 title fights, so it probably wouldn't be that. So it sounds pretty good, right? Until you get to the part where it says main event, interim title fight. That is where all the issues come with this, bro. Because looking at these guys' past 5 fights, Gaethje, 2022, lost to Oliveira in his last title fight. He then beat Fiziev by majority decision, beat Dustin Poirier by a head kick KO, and then lost to Holloway before beating Fiziev again, which was originally supposed to be Dan Hooker, right? Paddy Pimblett has beaten Jordan Levitt, has beaten Jared Gordon by robbery decision, Tony Ferguson, who's out of the UFC now, King Green, who is out of the rankings, and Michael Chandler, who is on his way out of the rankings. These 2 guys are going to be fighting for a title. Whoever wins this will be called a champion. You see what I mean, bro? Because it's like, I feel like this is just so underwhelming that neither guy deserves to be called a champion right now. This should not be for an interim title. There's no reason to be. He's going to be back. Ilia Topuria is going to be back in fucking like April probably, right? And I just think that, you know, crowning a new champion, it just making this like the absolute number 1 contenders fight robs a very specific someone who we just talked about should be the number 1 contender for this lightweight title, Arman Tsarukyan. He was devastatingly robbed of this opportunity, man. I really, really think he feels it on Twitter. You can tell him. Yeah, this sucks, dude. I don't like this as an interim title fight. I don't like this as the main event of your first ever Paramount card either. I really thought you should have run Aspinall Gane too, but I guess if Tom Aspinall is still recovering from his eye injury, it's just becoming a very bad look for him at this point. Honestly, this entire, like, the shenanigans that went down, it's starting to look really kind of bad for the UFC. I think the hardcores are kind of like, or not even the hardcores, but like the actual viewers of it, you know, not even just like the people that kind of tune in for just for the pay-per-views, are kind of like, they're not really feeling this card, man. But still, I think this is a travesty, especially when you look at the lightweight rankings. You look at the people Holloway's beating in the rankings right now, right? In his last 5 fights, right now it's just Fiziev that's still in the rankings. Paddy Pimblett, out of everyone inside these rankings right now, has only beaten Michael Chandler, who's on a very long losing streak. And then you look at someone like Sarukian, who has beaten Charles Oliveira, he's beaten Dan Hooker, and then he's beaten Beneil Dariush. Like, I don't get why they would do Arman Sarukian like this, man. I don't know. I am glad that Gaethje versus Pimblett are competing against each other. That is the fight to make. I just think for this to be the absolute number one contender, for the absolute number one contendership and the main event of this UFC 324, your big Paramount card, is a bit lackluster. Because there's another fight that seemingly on this card already deserves to be in that main event spot, and it is... I guess I should talk about who I think would win this fight. I'm gonna go Gaethje. I think he'll become a 2-time interim champion, which is really sad if you think about it. He's held 3 titles and none of them have been the world title. Isn't that crazy? Some Mickey Mouse title reigns, bro. I don't think Paddy Pimblett's got it within him. I don't think he's shown anything. Like, I just don't see... His wrestling is good, so maybe he could out-grapple Gaethje, but I think Gaethje... I don't know, man. I still have a lot of doubts about Paddy Pimblett. I really do. But the fight that should be main eventing this card, really, is Kayla Harrison defending her bantamweight title against the returning Amanda Nunes. Wow. This wasn't really a surprise. It was kind of played up when Harrison last won the belt that this fight would be going down. Obviously, people thought they would save this for the White House card, but nope, it's happening in January, baby. So obviously, Amanda Nunes has not fought since 2023 when she last beat Irene Aldana, and ducked Juliana Pena, bro. Oh, how terrible of her. Yeah, Kayla Harrison been on a pretty good tear of the bantamweight division, the women's bantamweight division. This is a hard one to predict, dude. Because on one hand, I don't think ring rust is a thing. I do genuinely believe that, like, regardless if Nunes was still active or not, won't change the outcome of this fight. All we have to base off of really is the performances against Juliana Pena. And I think, just like off the top of my head, I'd have to go back and watch them, which will be fun, I'm sure, when I actually do my good analysis of this. But, to get the submission win and the domination over Pena like Harrison did, I think kind of leans in her favor, especially because I don't know how old both these women are. 35 and 37? Yeah, I'm going to have to go Kayla Harrison, I think. Right at the moment. I'll have to watch back the fights. But I think Kayla Harrison's probably got it. Up next, we have Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong going down. This kind of disappoints me, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I really, of all the people within the top bantamweight rankings for Sean O'Malley to fight, I really wanted to be someone that would test him a little bit more. And I do think out of all the people, Song Yadong was kind of the weakest test for Sean O'Malley. So I'm kind of like, not upset that this is who he's going to fight next. I still do think it's a decent test. And I think, Song Yadong is a good striker, a good stand-up guy. I don't think he's the craziest, he's not the good submission. And I really wanted O'Malley to be tested grappling-wise and tested wrestling-wise. I wanted to see if he actually made those kind of improvements to his game to justify giving him another title shot. And I don't think we're going to get that out of a fight with Song Yadong. That's why I said I wanted him to fight Figueiredo, because he would have given him that test. But we'll get to Figueiredo in a little bit here. In terms of this fight, I don't really see Song Yadong really being that much of a challenge. Like I said, but not even in that same sense, but still, being able to keep pressure, control the fight, he looked good against the Henry Cejudo fight, but even then, Henry Cejudo, his striking, his stand-up game has never been his strongest suit anyway, so I think it's hard to justify, saying, looking at those performances, and especially when he lost to Petr Yan, and when he lost to Corey Sandhagen, even though that was a doctor stoppage, it's hard to say with confidence that he's now going to go in there and beat a guy like Sean O'Malley, who who has a win over Petr Yan, So I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna have to lean Sean O'Malley to win this one. Like I said, I do kind of wish he would fight a better grappler, someone who's better in the grappling game, someone who's better in the wrestling game. But still, this is Song Yadong is a top 5 competitor right now, so it does make sense for a bounce back fight for Sean O'Malley. I see why you would obviously want to take this fight. I think you're a little bit bitch made for doing it, but still, it makes sense. It makes sense, and it will be probably a very entertaining fight. So I am somewhat looking forward to this. Up next to talk about Waldo Cortez Acosta. Couldn't find a spot on the UFC's December 13th card, so we were giving you a shot at the pay-per-view against Derek Lewis. I can't lie, man. I kind of want to lean Waldo Cortez Acosta for this. Derek Lewis has also been looking good. He's had some momentum going. The Taliesin Teixeira win is a very good win for Derek Lewis. But I think it's going to go down a lot like the Shamil fight went down. Just off, the top of my head. And, with that fight so fresh in my memory, it's just like, I think, Lewis will be headhunting. He'll be looking for the big strike. He'll be backing up Cortez Acosta to the cage. But then I think Cortez Acosta is going to find a point where you can just throw a really mean counterpunch and really, really hurt Derek Lewis until he gets wobbled, thrown off his feet. And then Cortez Acosta can come in and kind of find his big strike that will get the knockout win for him. So I kind of like the odds of that happening against Derek Lewis too. It's gonna be like it's gonna be kind of like Aspinall Pavlovich, where whoever just lands the biggest strike first is probably going to win. I do rate Cortez Acosta's. He is a pretty tough guy. I think he does have quite the chin. So I do kind of want to lean towards him just because of that. We haven't really seen him get knocked out or hurt too badly yet. He did get kind of wobbled in the Shamil fight, but he bounced back from that pretty easily and got the counter KO win. So I'm gonna lean Waldo Cortez Acosta to win this fight, but we'll see when we get closer to the fight itself, if this fight even happens, man. Derek Lewis has kind of been pulling out of fights quite often, so we'll see. Another fight, Arnold Allen versus Jean Silva. I do like this fight. I swear to God, I thought I read that Arnold Allen was going to be moving up to lightweight because of his injury. I swear to God I read that, but I guess not. This is a good fight. I think this is a good test for Jean Silva to see if he's still capable, still worthy of being within the top 10, even though I don't think he's ranked inside the top 10 right now, but if he's able to get this fight, it shows that he is worthy of being in the top 10. It's a good test for him. See if all the hype is still there for the guy, if he can have a good performance here. Arnold Allen, it's not that he's washed, he's a really good measuring tape, a really good measuring stick for the division itself. His loss has come to Max Holloway and Mavlar Evloev. There's no shame in losing to those guys at all. So if Jean Silva is able to put his name up there amongst those other two guys, I think that's a very big statement win for Jean Silva. And if not, that's unfortunate. I do think Jean Silva will still probably be within the rankings for at least quite some time. He's only 29 right now. He should be in his prime. Conceptually, so I do think we could see a bounce back win, even if he does lose regardless. In terms of who I think is going to win this fight, off the top of my head, so he lost to, he was kind of controlling Lopez for a good while. It's just Lopez is a very tough guy and is a very hard person to knock out, and I don't think, so is Arnold Allen, but I think he's going to be able to control him a lot better compared to like the Shikadze, whatever. I'm gonna go Jean Silva to win this. What's the height difference? It's only 1 inch. Okay. They're both 145. I'm gonna go with Jean Silva to win this. I think he's a bit more explosive. He will maintain more control. He's gonna try to establish some good striking abilities and try to keep keep a good distance at least. Just try to bully him as much as you can. Maybe go for takedowns. Try to grapple him, keep him down that way. Arnold Allen's really just going to have his striking to come back at him with, which maybe isn't as good as Lopez. It might be. I'd have to... Is his striking as good as Lopez? They're close. It's really close, man. It's a very close fight to the one he had with Lopez, but I think even going into that fight, I think you can compare how he did against Lopez, and this would reflect pretty well against Arnold Allen, but I think Silva's actually going to have a better chance of winning. He's going to have a better easier time controlling the fight. And we saw he was able to maintain a lot of control and distance and pushing the pace against Lopez a lot before getting caught with a spinning back elbow. So I don't think Arnold Allen has that in his arsenal really to kind of, whip that out randomly. So I'm going to go with John Silva to win this fight. Yeah, I feel kind of confident about that. Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. This fight was apparently already announced before the other one, so the minor. I like this fight. Krylov was a very good-looking prospect until he got absolutely slumped by Dominic Reyes, and then got absolutely slumped by Bogdan Guskov. So there's a lot of questions around him right now if he still is worthy of being in the rankings, and that's gonna be tested against someone like Modestas Bukauskas, dudes who he's coming off his Paul Craig win, which looked pretty good, but Paul Craig retired after that. Ion Cutelaba, these other wins are just kind of, Rafael Cerqueira and Marcin Parachnio before losing to Vitor Petrino. That's not even that bad of a loss. He's on a good run right now, Bukauskas, so this is tough. Because one guy's on the way up, the other guy's on the way down, I'm trying to think of what he could do, Bukauskas. I don't know what Bukauskas could specifically do other than just have really strong power behind his punches to beat Krylov. Because that seems to be the way to beat Krylov, is to have a lot of power behind his punches. He doesn't have a low fight IQ. He's still relatively active during his fights. He's good at defending at some points. It's just the power can get to him. Because, Guskov still seemingly looks like a really good fighter. I think this was the guy that beat Rakic recently too, I believe. And of course, Dominic Reyes was on a really strong run as well. So both are not bad losses. We're just kind of, we're now just trying to gauge where Krylov is how far the fall off is going. It might not be that far. It might just end here with a Bukauskas win. I'm gonna go with I'm actually gonna go with Krylov to win this fight. I think the momentum stops here. I think this is where Krylov has his big bounce back. I don't know. I think maybe a decision win over Bukauskas. I don't know, man. I don't look at these wins as very, very impressive wins. I think a split decision over Ion Cutelaba 6 months ago is not that impressive. I think, Paul Craig, not that impressive. So I'm going to go with Krylov to win this fight. We'll see, though. I'm very excited to rewatch these fights, honestly, for these both guys. Alexa Grasso versus Rose Namajunas. This one I'm talking about the stacked card, man. These are prelim fights. Yes, this fight makes sense to make. Grasso is still trying to maintain her footing again after losing her title and then losing to Natalia Silva. Rose is still trying to prove herself as not washed yet. Not washed yet. Still have some value. And she did with a win over Miranda Maverick, which that's a good bounce back, man. I'll give you that, Rose. I mean, it's a win. It is a win. You've lost to Blanchfield, you've lost to Fiorot. Not bad losses. You're beating people like Ribas and Cortez, who are always just so close to the top, to title status. I think, so she's a good gatekeeper deciding whether or not someone should get a title shot, really, if you are able to beat her. Who the fuck wins this, dude? Because Rose is still losing to some of the most elite women's flyweights. And it's just about whether Grasso can put herself among those names. But I think she can. I'm gonna go with Alexa Grasso to win this fight. I think, just off her record, man. She beat Valentina Shevchenko, bro. She can beat Rose Namajunas. I just think maybe Natalia Silva is on that level of very well-paced boxing control ability, and so I don't think Rose is on that same level. I think it's gonna be close. It'll probably be a split decision. I'm gonna predict that, but I'm going to go with Alexa Grasso to get a bounce-back win over here. And, again, it's not a bad loss for Rose Namajunas if she does lose this, because this probably means that Alexa Grasso will be in contention for another title shot. I don't think so, honestly, but she'll probably just be like a gatekeeper until someone can find, someone beats her. But I don't think Rose Namajunas wins this. If she does, though, then maybe you can throw her hat in the ring for a title shot against Shevchenko. You guys definitely want to see that, right? We all want to see that. I'm sure of it. We want to see that. I'm going to go with Alexa Grasso to win this fight. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Look, man, when people talk about Dana White privilege, people talk about how Sean O'Malley definitively lost to Merab Dvalishvili and got an instant rematch, while Umar lost a close fight with Merab Dvalishvili and has to fight twice before getting a rematch. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like, there are certain fighters that just get those benefits, dude. And this is not one of them. I guess Mario Batista win is not enough to get you a title shot. He now has to fight Figueiredo. This is who I thought Figueiredo would fight O'Malley, and Umar would be fighting for the title next. That appears not to be the case. So let's look at the bantamweight rankings and see how this is gonna play out. Because we have Merab's gonna fight Petr Yan, O'Malley's gonna fight Song Yadong, and Umar's gonna fight Figueiredo. So that leaves us with Sandhagen right here. And honestly, it's not a bad mix-up of fighters right now, because you can then easily just run Ayman Zahabi, which I think makes the most sense with the circumstances you provided right here. It's not a bad shuffling of like the bantamweight rankings right now. Like, I do get what they were going for here. Again, this does kind of protect O'Malley quite a bit, and Umar Figueiredo is definitely gonna be for the number one contender status as well. I think whoever wins that will probably get a title shot first, and then maybe O'Malley can. Would you run O'Malley Yan again? I would run O'Malley Yan again. Or no, I'd run O'Malley Valachvili 3 for the number one contendership status, because Petr Yan's gonna win. That's what I'm gonna say. No, for real though, I think Sandhagen versus Ayman Zahabi makes the most sense for the next fight. If anyone can put a stop to the terroristic threats of Zahabi making the top 5 rankings, your words, not mine, it's gonna be Corey Sandhagen, dude. I think the switch stancing will be enough. He'll have the control. He'll figure out Zahabi in ways that other people haven't been able to. Like, Marlon Vera was not figuring out Ayman Zahabi. Let's be real. Jose Aldo was not figuring out Ayman Zahabi. So I do fancy Corey's chances at being able to kind of control, figure him out, counter the strikings, defend the grappling takedown attempts from him, do enough. And even if he does get taken down, like, the grappling on the ground will be probably enough for Sandhagen to get out of. So like I said, that's the fight I would make. It's not, honestly, and then just for the fucks of it, the rest of the division here, I would run Marlon Vera versus David Martinez, and I would run Mario Batista versus Vinicius Oliveira. And then you're already fighting someone out of the rankings. Font can do the same. Phillips and McGee can fight each other. I don't know. Sure. Honestly, that's not even a bad idea. Fight each other. But yeah, man, it's not. You know what? This is definitely one of the best divisions going right now. It's very, very active. It's gonna become way more active. I'm excited to see how this plays out. Back to the Umar Figueiredo fight. I'm gonna have to go Umar, man. I when you compare the fights between, Figueiredo had against Montel Jackson, there was a very close. I don't think it was a split decision win. It might have been, but it was a close win for Figueiredo over Montel Jackson. But there was a very dominant win for Umar Nurmagomedov, who displayed everything he was supposed to in that fight. Good grappling, good wrestling, keeping in control of Batista. Clinching him up, keeping him down. And I think Figueiredo, who's going to be undersized compared to Umar, and also 3 inches shorter and an inch less in reach advantage. And, even though we did see him do well against a bigger opponent, I just think someone like Umar and his fighting style is going to be enough to, like, smother Figueiredo into not being able to have any control of his own. There might be some grappling exchanges which might make the fight pretty fun, but on the feet, I think Umar's going to be pretty controlling, pushing the pace a lot, and just keeping control over Figueiredo for a lot of the fight. So I'm going to go with Umar Nurmagomedov to win that fight. And then finally, for UFC 324, the announced fights, we have Artibia Gautier versus Andre Puliev. Now, I said last time Artibia Gautier fought, I thought Kevin Gastelum would have been a good fight for him, or Dustin Stoltzfus, now that I'm thinking about it now. The UFC says not to think so. We still want to keep this a very short, not short, but slow-burning, organic build-up of this fighter. So we're going to give him Andre Puliev. He's got a bit more credibility as a fighter. He's coming off a very good first round body kick KO win over Nick Klein in the first round. So that's a very good win. I'm just saying, do we really need to do this? I think we've already established that Artibia Gautier is a legit fighter and does deserve to have a big bounce up in competition. I don't think this fight is very necessary. I don't think this is a very necessary fight at all, because even Andre Pulyev has already lost to Christian Leroy Duncan. And I just don't see how he'd have a chance against a TB Gauthier, man. Like, look at these people he's fought. Jose Medina, Robert Valentin, Trey Stonewise, which was a last minute replacement, but still. These are legit cans. These are all legit cans in the UFC. And now you're fighting someone who's 1-1, who's just like a step below. Like, I just think, I thought a TB Gauthier would go 2 steps up in opponent's competition. He's gotten only 1 step up in competition. It is a step up, but a shorter one than I expected from him. Again, unfortunate. I would have liked to see him fight a much better opponent, but still, I'm expecting a very quick knockout, not entering the second round win from a TB Gauthier, even against someone like Andre Pulyev, who maybe he does go to decision. Maybe, I don't know. The guy's only 28. Similar heights, but Gauthier has the bigger reach advantage. I'm gonna predict on TB Gauthier to win this fight. So that was UFC 324. I'm excited for this card. It's a very good card. These prelims are awesome. This main card is good. I think this main event is kind of shit. We're going to move on, though, to the next event that was announced, the next main event that was announced. Shit. UFC 325. Silver anniversary. It's Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. I don't even want to talk about who wins this, man. I think, I've been asking for a while for some updates in the featherweight division. And this was the last thing I wanted. Truly, this was the last thing I wanted. I don't know even what to say about this, man. So, first of all, I don't think there's any reason we should see this rematch. I think Volkanovski pretty definitively beat Lopez in their first fight. I just don't see how, that would change just from what we've seen from Lopez now. I don't see why there would be a different outcome of this fight compared to the first. I think it'll still just be a decision win for Volkanovski. And, this is happening in Australia, so a lot of rumors are that he's going to retire and, vacate his belt, which is fine, but, man, this division is just so bad. I'm just gonna transition to it straight away. Fuck this fight. Let's just talk about the featherweight division, dude. This used to be the fucking best division of the fucking entire UFC. This used to be the best division, dude. And now look at this fucking boxing ass rankings, bro. Everyone in the top 9 is coming off a win. That's not good. This is not a good thing. Are you kidding me? The featherweight division, this entire 25 has been absolutely shambolic. It's the most boxing-esque division out of the entire UFC right now. We have 3 people in the divisions all calling for a title shot, but are unwilling to face each other for it. And it's upsetting, man. And because even then, when you look at who Volkanovski is fighting, he's fighting the wrong opponent. But at the same time, you can make the argument that Lopez is the right opponent because he's done what people like Movsar Evloev haven't done, Yair Rodriguez hasn't done, or Leon Murphy hasn't done. And that's actually, did Murphy do it this year? I'm actually gonna recheck this. He did do it this year. So, but even then, man, only Murphy has. He's probably got the best example of this. The thing is, though, Evloev has not beaten a ranked opponent at featherweight in the year 2025. Yair Rodriguez has not beaten a ranked featherweight in 2025. Lerone Murphy did it against Josh Emmett, who lost his next fight anyway. And then beat Aaron Pico. And all these people think they're deserving of a title shot. Lopez actually did beat a legitimate up-and-coming contender in fucking Jean Silva. So that's why it's almost the greatest claim to his that's the greatest claim to his title campaign, because the only other argument for Evloev to win it is that 19 win streak, 19-0. That's like the only other reason people really think he deserves a shot. Obviously because he's also the number one contender right now because of how the rankings have fallen out. Because Rodriguez lost, and not Rodriguez. Sorry, Lopez lost, and Rodriguez hasn't just been coming up. He's trying to recover from the Brian Ortega loss. They got Murphy on the come up. Sterling coming off the Evloev loss. And it's just, I like, this is just dumb. Like, seeing everyone coming off a win. The only good thing to come out of this, though, is that with Volkanovski and Lopez fighting, that should make people realize, people like Evloev and Rodriguez and Murphy realize they need to fight each other to get this title shot. So what I would do here is I would give Evloev I would probably just run Evloev versus Lerone Murphy, dude. I probably just would, and I would run Rodriguez Sterling, because I don't think those two have fought before. Yeah, that's just what I would do to determine a true number one contender. The winner of Evloev Murphy can be the number one contender, and then Rodriguez can fight. If Lopez loses, he can fight Lopez, because the UFC fucking needs to make that fight anyway. We need to run Lopez Rodriguez. I can't believe we haven't done it already. But yeah, this division is shambolic. Dude, there was not, in the entirety of 2025, there was not one fight between two top 5 featherweights, except for Volkanovski Lopez 1. In the entirety of 2025, that was it. You should just go back and look at all the pay-per-view featherweight bouts or the main event of Fight Night featherweights bouts, and you'd see it's just so one-sided, So it's unfortunate. I don't think Murphy deserves a title shot off an Aaron Pico win. I don't think Evloev deserves a title shot off an Aljamain Sterling win a year ago. I don't think Rodriguez deserves a title shot off a Patricio Pitbull win from fucking April as well, dude. God, what are we doing here? What is this? So many egos in this division, man, and it's killing it. It's just killing this division. Easily one of the worst years for this division in a very long time. Probably ever since its creation, since it was absorbed into the UFC from the WEC. Genuinely, I just had to cite my disappointment with this entire division, dude. And then we got people like Steve Garcia and Yusuf Zalal on the come up, bro. They're like, oh my god. Zalal my guy, though. I can't even lie. Still, though, yeah, Volkanovski's gonna win this fight and then retire. And then there you fucking guys go. Take the belt. I don't think he's gonna reach 2,000 days as champion, which is pretty unfortunate, in my opinion. I would have liked to have seen that. I said if he gets at least one more defense in and keeps the belt, he would reach there. I don't think he's going to reach it, which is unfortunate, because I think that would have put him definitively in a conversation among one of the greats, because especially doing it in the year 2025. He still is he is still up there in obviously all-time great conversation, but that would have stopped any doubt from it happening. But we'll talk about that more when we get closer to the fight itself. This is just the news breaking. Those are my initial reactions. To these entire fights announced yesterday now. But yeah, that was it. Let me know what you guys think of the fight announcements from this last week in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a like and share. Here's a place of my other UFC videos, just my predictions and reactions. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and you can subscribe to the channel right here, which you should do so if you want to see more from me. That's going to do it for me today, though. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.